Ethan, you're late. Again, and the office soundscape sharpens the second she appears. Ava Sterling slices through the ambient chatter like a blade. Hair pulled back so tight it could snap, heels clicking like a metronome, and a face carved with that beautiful kind of cruelty. My coffee nearly makes a break for it. My excuse, the stalled L train, stumbles out of me like a child's lie. This is the third time this month, and I already know what the forecast is. Avalanche. I brace. She stops at my desk, towering in 4-inch stilettos, and for a ridiculous, helpless second I'm struck by how impossible she looks. Severe, sculpted, all angles and intent. Then she reaches into my life with one graceful swipe, taking my phone, and the whole room tilts. Her thumb glides, the screen blooms, and there she is, last night at the company Christmas party in a black gown, caught smiling the way she never smiles at work. It's a private picture I'd saved like contraband. Heat floods my skin. The rehearsed apologies evaporate. Her face does something I wasn't prepared for. The knife edge of her expression softens. A color rises at her throat. You made my picture your lock screen, she says, voice low, as if confessing or discovering evidence in a drawer. My stomach lurches. The office exhales. Heads pop up over cubicles like curious meerkats. I've imagined this moment turning into public execution 1,000 times. Humiliation, firing a dramatic walk of shame. But what spills out her instead is bewildering and dangerous all at once. Without warning, she loops her arm through mine. Her perfume is expensive and calm, and when she leans in, the world narrows to the sound of her breathing. "So you like me," she purrs, and the sentence lands with the absurd confidence of someone rewriting the rules as they speak them. The room goes silent in a way that makes everyone feel like voyeurs in a very official, very illegal scene. Jessica's mouth hangs open. David looks like he wants to dissolve into the carpet. Then she smiles, not the cold professional smile she wears like armor, but something softer, mischievous, almost private. "Call me Ava," she says, batting an eyelash as if flirtation were a new company policy. By the time the word drops, the landscape of my life shifts. I am suddenly not just a late junior sales rep. I am her personal assistant. Her declaration is casual and absolute, like a mandate from an unassailable throne. I try to protest. The word protest die in my throat under that calm, predatory look. Moving my desk becomes a spectacle. Ava oversees everything, vetoing my belongings with the precision of a curator. The cactus is exiled. You could prick yourself. My favorite mug? Hideous. The pen holder is an offense to aesthetics. She replaces each thing with her version of order. A new setup that reads like someone redecorated a pastel fever dream. Sticky notes, folders, even a stapler. All pink, insistently, overwhelmingly pink. "Pink is cute," she declares as if that explains everything. This way I can tell at a glance which things are yours. I have no idea why that matters, but it somehow does. She hands me a rewards card the way a queen might hand a squire crest. Medium latte, 1 pump of vanilla, extra foam. Temperature perfect, not too hot, not too cold, she recites, and I memorize it like a prayer. Then the list grows. Lunch with her, discovering new restaurants every day, and, most unsettlingly, staying late. "You will keep me company," she says, and there's no pretext of work in that command. It's a personal rule now. You're not allowed to leave before I do. Her tone is light, but it carries the weight of law. When she asks for my phone again, it isn't about control so much as placement. "I'm making myself your emergency contact," she says, sliding her hand out like an offer that's already a takeover. "And I'm pinning our chat to the top." Her smile is small and calculated, the kind that promises both trouble and protection. The office, which moments ago was poised to execute me for tardiness, now watches a different drama. The day my boss decided I belonged to her. And in the quiet after she walks away, heels clicking like an ominous metronome, I realize I moved into a new orbit. Pink staplers, perfect lattes, mandatory dinners, and a boss who knows my lock screen better than anyone else. Whether it's a blessing or a sentence, I can't tell. All I know is that nothing about work or me will ever be the same. Resigned, I handed over my phone. Her fingers danced across the screen, fast and sharp, until her expression shifted into something darker. Ethan, she said, voice low and dangerous, why are there so many girls in your contacts? My heart lurched. I leaned in, scrambling for logic. They're just friends. Old classmates, coworkers. But Ava cut me off with a venomous scoff. Friends? There's no such thing as friendship between a man and a woman. Delete them. All of them. I tried to protest, my voice weak against the weight of her glare. That's not right. But the look she gave me wasn't just angry. It was a death sentence. Okay, fine, I'll delete them. My hand reached out, but she yanked the phone back. Don't bother. I'll do it. And then I watched helpless as she went on a digital rampage. One by one, names disappeared, my social life, executed with ruthless efficiency by a woman in 4-inch heels. When she finally placed the phone back in my palm, her smile was triumphant. There, now I'm the only woman left. I stared at the screen, my contacts list cut nearly in half. Ava, this is insane, I whispered, almost pleading. But she just blinked at me, feigning innocence. What's insane? I'm protecting you. Those girls didn't care about you. I'm the only one who does. It didn't feel like protection. It felt like surveillance. But then she tilted her head, that flawless face softening just enough, and the fight drained right out of me. Fine. Maybe I'd just call it special attention from the beautiful boss. The next morning, I trudged into her favorite cafe, rewards card in hand. The barista saw me and grinned knowingly. Morning, Ethan. Another one from Miss Sterling. Her tone was light, teasing. I froze. You two are so cute together, she added. My mouth opened to correct her, to insist this wasn't what it looked like. But Ava's warnings echoed in my head. I shut my lips tight. Medium latte, 1 pump vanilla, extra foam, perfect temp. The barista recited, already at work. She's lucky, you know, having such a dedicated boyfriend. Boyfriend. My cheeks burned. We weren't anything like that, were we? By the time I made it back, Ava was perched at my desk, rifling through my files like she owned not just the office but my life. What are you doing? I asked. Reviewing your work, she said smoothly. You were late yesterday. I need to make sure you're not falling behind. It almost sounded reasonable, but every alarm bell inside me rang. Then her hand extended. My coffee. I passed it over quickly. She sipped once and frowned. Too hot, she declared, pushing it back. Go get another. I blinked at her. But it's almost 9. If I go now, I'll be late again. She looked at me with mock innocence. So what? You're my assistant. I'll cover you. So I trudged back. The second attempt, too cold. The third, the barista eyed me with pity. Man, what's going on? 3rd latte today. I rubbed the back of my neck. My girlfriend is particular. The words slipped out like a confession I didn't believe. The barista just nodded, wise and knowing. Girls in love can be a little crazy. Love. That wasn't love. It was torture by latte. Finally, Ava deemed the 4th cup acceptable. Much better, she said sweetly, sipping like a queen. Next time, don't waste time on mistakes. I bit my tongue so hard it almost bled. Then, as if nothing had happened, she announced, lunch. I want sushi. I asked her where. She smiled, sly, dangerous. You choose. But if I don't like it, you're staying with me until 10 tonight. A trap, and I'd walked right into it. At noon, she appeared in a soft blue sundress, white sneakers, her edges softened into something almost ordinary. She looked less like the Ice Queen boss and more like the girl next door. Ethan, she asked suddenly, do I look pretty today? I turned, words catching my throat. She didn't look pretty. She looked stunning. Very pretty, I admitted. Her eyes sparkled as she leaned closer. Which do you like better, me at work or me like this? A trick question. I knew it. I chose my words carefully. You look beautiful either way. She tilted her head, unsatisfied. Really? Then when do you think I look my best? I hesitated, then told the truth. When you smile. Her face flushed crimson. She looked away, murmuring, Then I'll try to smile more. I stared, stunned. Her ears were burning red. Could it be? Did she actually like me? Back at the office, a small, elegant box waited on my desk. What's this? I asked. Ava only smiled. Open it. Inside was a silver tie clip, my initials engraved in neat lines. I stared, floored. A boss didn't give gifts like this. It's for me? She nodded. You needed a little sprucing up. It suits you. Before I could thank her, she stepped closer. Tried on. My fingers fumbled. So hers replaced mine. Cool, slender, brushing against my chest as she adjusted it. I felt her warmth, her breath, the closeness that made my pulse quicken. Perfect, she whispered, stepping back to admire her work. We're every day. And just like that, I knew this wasn't a job anymore. This was something else entirely. Something dangerous, magnetic, and utterly inescapable. Every day. I asked, fumbling with the tie clip, isn't that a little formal for the office? No, Ava said quickly, her eyes darting away. This way I can. She stopped herself mid-sentence, lips pressing shut like she'd almost given away a secret. Nothing, she muttered, brushing it off. By the way, we're working late again tonight. I groaned, but I've finished all my projects. It's not about work, she said, and for the first time, her voice wasn't sharp. It was nervous. I just want to talk to you. Alone. Alone. The word rattled in my head, dangerous and charged. By 6 o'clock, the office was deserted, the fluorescent lights buzzing softly over empty desks. She guided me into her office, sat me down on the couch, and carefully poured 2 cups of tea. Her hands trembled as she held her mug. Ethan, she whispered, eyes fixed on the steam. Do you really like me? My heart thudded so loud I was sure she could hear it. How was I supposed to answer that? If I said yes, was I crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed? I hesitated, caught in the storm. Don't lie to me, she said, her voice fragile but firm. I knew the moment I saw my picture on your phone. Something about being caught, cornered so completely, made the fear settle. I lifted my head and met her eyes. Yes, I said, steady this time. I like you. Color surged across her cheeks, her hands trembling as she set the cup down. She opened her mouth, stumbled, then blurted, then we should... I cut in, panicked. Ava, you're my boss. I'd never crossed that line. What line? She snapped, her voice cracking with something raw. Her eyes burned. I like you, too. For a second, I thought I'd misheard. You what? I like you, too, she repeated, standing now, moving closer. I've liked you since your first day here. I just didn't know how to handle it. Her voice shrank to a whisper. I've never been in a relationship before. I didn't know how to be gentle, so I was hard on you. And suddenly, the puzzle pieces clicked. The bizarre rules, the endless demands, the pink stapler and the coffee quest. It wasn't just control. It was her clumsy, possessive way of keeping me close. All those demands, I asked carefully, they were just excuses? Her face flamed. I wanted more time with you. I wanted you to think about me. Only me. Deleting your contacts? That was jealousy. The coffee thing? That was just so you had me in your thoughts, even if it annoyed you. She mumbled the last part, cheeks burning hotter. Oh my God. This was Ava Sterling's version of flirting. Twisted, chaotic, almost tyrannical, but underneath it, oddly sweet. Ava, I said softly. Yes. Will you go out with me? She froze. Then her lips curved into a slow smile. Her face turned crimson, her eyes shining. She nodded, shy and radiant. Okay. The very next morning, I learned just how much Ava's version of being a couple meant. I went to grab her latte, only to find her already waiting at the shop door, dressed immaculately as always. Ava, what are you doing here? I wanted to commute with you, she said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. From now on, we go to and from work together. But we live on opposite sides of the city. Then move closer, she replied instantly, a bright smile breaking across her face. I already found an apartment for you, across from mine. I nearly dropped the coffee. When did you do that? Last night, she said cheerfully, like she was telling me about a good sale. This way, we can see each other all the time. We'd been official for less than 24 hours, and she was already redrawing my entire life. But Ava, my lease... I'll pay the penalty. She cut me off with a wave of her hand. Don't worry about money. This isn't about money, this is... But she was already stepping closer, rising on her toes, and planting a quick kiss on my cheek. We're a couple, she whispered. Couples are supposed to be together. The kiss fried my brain. People on the sidewalk smiled at us like we were a scene from a romance drama. My face burned. Oh, okay, I stammered. When we walked into the office together, it was like a grenade went off. Whispers exploded across cubicles. Jessica cornered me, eyes wide. Wait, are you and Miss Sterling thing? I opened my mouth, words fumbling. But Ava appeared right behind me, looping her arm through mine like she was claiming territory. Of course we are, she announced, beaming. Ethan is my boyfriend. The office gasped as if history had just shifted. No way. The Ice Queen has a heart. Ethan, you're a legend. This is straight up a rom-com. I managed a weak smile, half proud, half terrified. Ava soaked in the stares like sunlight, then clapped her hands. All right, back to work. But the second her office door closed behind us, she was on me again, arms around my waist, lips brushing my ear. Wasn't that a cool way to announce us? Cool. I croaked, my lungs compressed. Then I deserve a kiss, she teased, lips pouting like a demand. I glanced nervously at the glass walls. Ava, someone will see. Let them, she said, eyes gleaming. I want the world to know you're mine. Her possessiveness was terrifying, overwhelming. But as I bent down and kissed her, seeing her melt with satisfaction, I knew resisting her was impossible. The week that followed became a masterclass in suffocating affection. Ava's love wasn't gentle, it was relentless. Not just commuting together, but hourly texts. 10 a.m. Ethan, what are you doing? Organizing client files. Send me a picture. 11 a.m. What now? Discussing the project with David. Why him? You could have asked me. 12 p.m. Update me. Her grip on my world was tightening by the hour, and all I could think was, what have I gotten myself into? She put a tiny mirror on my desk like a window into her office, angled so she could watch me breathe, and slowly the days began to feel less like a relationship and more like a performance. Don't you think this is a little much? I finally asked, and she blinked at me with those enormous, innocent eyes as if I'd accused the sun of being too bright. I'm just showing you I care, she said, and the word landed colder than she meant it to. When I asked for space, the sentence that followed cracked like old paint. Are you hiding something from me? Her voice sharpened, tears storming the edges of her pupils before she attacked them with fury and heartbreak all at once. You're tired of me, I knew it, and whatever stubbornness I'd been polishing away melted. I folded her into my arms because watching her unravel felt worse than conceding my small comforts, and for a breath we were ordinary. She curled into my chest and whispered we should always be together. That was the promise and the trap. She cleaned every wound I didn't know I had, packing lunches, rubbing my shoulders raw from stress, calling in to nurse me when a cold knocked me flat, and each kindness tightened the rope. You don't have to do that, I mumbled once, embarrassed, and she waved away like a declaration of ownership. You're my person now. Then, with a shy earnestness that both surprised and warmed me, she presented a bowl of chicken noodle soup and confessed she'd learned to cook for me. I took her hand and said thank you. She said we were a couple, and that was all the reason she needed. When I finally said the words back, I love you, the sound made her freeze, then crumble into tears of a different color, joy so fierce it frightened her. For a month, the world was exactly that strange, intense bubble, until the bubble met a new face. Chloe walked in one morning like sunlight and fluorescent light, all bright hellos and nervous introductions, and whatever calm I'd attained evaporated under the ice in Ava's stare. Stay away from her, she hissed, and the command sat between us like an accusation that kept growing. Work being the tiny, unavoidable trap it is, I found myself teaching Chloe the ropes, and from my shoulder came the slow, poisoned drip of Ava's suspicion. One text, my office. And I spent the afternoon on eggshells, explaining that it was all professional, that nothing had happened. Her tears came quick, sharp. You looked at her like I used to look at you. I tried to reassure her, to promise transfers and loyalty, but the cure she wanted wasn't paperwork. It was a leash. She demanded rules, no initiating, no being alone with Chloe. And in the quiet after her sobs stopped, I realized how small my freedom had become, how wide her love could spread, and how tightly it could bind. Ava's rules became gospel. No being alone with Chloe, no casual conversations, no room for accidents. And though every fiber in me knew it was absurd, one look at her tear-streaked face, trembling with fear, and I caved. For a while, I played the part, the perfect, compliant boyfriend. But Chloe was sunshine bottled into a person, friendly, warm, impossible to avoid. In the break room, she caught me off guard, her voice light, teasing. You've been so quiet, Ethan. I forced a smile, pretending it was just work. She offered help, lunch, even dinner. Each time I turned her down, my words clumsy, my eyes flicking nervously toward Ava's office, knowing she was watching like a hawk. And then, right on cue, Ava appeared, her voice sliced through the air, cold and controlled. Chloe shrank, fumbling apologies while Ava spun rules out of thin air, new company policies designed to cage me. I stood there, silent, while Chloe wilted under the weight of it. Later, Ava demanded every detail, twisting Chloe's friendliness into betrayal, seduction, danger. Her rage built until she blurted something that stopped me cold. Let's move. Another city. Just us. That night, her apartment felt like a pressure cooker. I told her the truth we'd both been avoiding. This wasn't healthy. She bristled, denied, clung to the word love like it was armor. But love isn't a cage, I said. Love is trust. That broke her. The tears weren't jealous now. They were afraid. Afraid of losing me. Afraid she wasn't enough. My heart cracked hearing it. I held her, swore I wasn't leaving, and asked her to try. She promised, pinky swear, her watery smile more fragile than I'd ever seen. And she did try. The next time Chloe approached me, Ava stood nearby, fists clenched but steady. Chloe's laugh rang light as she called me smart. And for a split second, I thought Ava would explode. But she didn't. She breathed, stayed silent, let me finish. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. For the first time, it felt like maybe we had a chance at something real. Chloe's smile faded as she walked away. Okay, thanks, Ethan, she said softly. A minute later, I felt a shadow at my desk. Ava, her voice wavered, just a little. Ethan, I turned, instantly concerned. What's wrong? Her confession tumbled out raw and unfiltered. I really want to go over there and pull her away from you just now, but I didn't. I reached for her hand, steadying her trembling fingers. You did great, I told her. I'm proud of you. Her eyes lit up, bright and disbelieving. Really, really, I whispered, pressing a kiss to the back of her hand. Seeing you try so hard to change, it means everything to me. And just like that, the storm inside her broke into sunshine. She grinned, wide, genuine, radiant. Then I get a kiss as a reward, she teased, pouting like a child asking for candy. I glanced around the office, then leaned in for the quickest peck on her cheek. She twirled in a happy little circle, utterly unguarded, utterly joyful. Watching her like that, I thought maybe all the madness really had been worth it. Time softened her sharp edges. Ava's possessiveness didn't vanish, but it transformed, quirky little rules instead of suffocating chains. No more hourly check-ins. No more bans on every casual hello. She still wanted a full report after any talk with a female colleague, but compared to where we started, it was progress. One evening, as we sat together, she looked at me with a sudden seriousness. Ethan, I want to meet your parents. I blinked. What? Now? She nodded. MHM. We've been dating for 3 months. It's time. 3 months. I hadn't even realized how quickly they'd flown. A whirlwind, chaotic and sweet. Okay, I said, a little nervous. Her bravado cracked. Will they like me? What if they don't? I pulled her close. They'll love you. You're amazing. And even if the whole world hated you, I'd still love you. Her eyes welled with tears. Why are you so good to me? Because you're my girlfriend, I said simply, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. She buried herself in my arms, whispering against my ear, I love you, Ethan. I love you, too, I murmured. And then, fast forward, 1 year later, I stood in front of a mirror, tugging nervously at my tie, when Ava appeared behind me. Your tie's crooked, she said, smoothing it with the ease of someone who had long since claimed the role of caretaker. What's there to be nervous about? She teased. It's not like this is the first time you're meeting my parents. Except today wasn't just any day. Today was our engagement party. A whole year had passed, and somehow we'd carved out a rhythm. Steady, loving hours. Of course, Ava was still Ava. Before we left, she grew serious again. If one of the guests is a pretty woman and she starts talking to you, you know the protocol, right? I groaned playfully. Respond politely, then immediately grab you and walk away. She grinned, satisfied. Exactly. You're so well trained. All thanks to my brilliant teacher. I teased back. She swatted me. Not teacher. Wife. I smiled at our reflection, my chest tightening with the weight of how far we'd come. From a dangerously possessive boss to the woman standing beside me now, softened, vulnerable, still a little jealous, but loving me in her own fiery way. Thank you for putting up with me, she said, her voice quiet. I shook my head. No, thank you for changing, for trying, for choosing me. Her smile turned tender. Let's stop thanking each other. Let's just promise to be together forever, until we're old and wrinkly. Deal, I said, kissing her hand. You have my word. And you have mine, she whispered back. Music drifted in from the other room. It was time. I offered her my arm. Shall we, my future Mrs. Miller? She slipped her hand into mine. Let's go, my Mr. Miller. Together, we walked toward the rest of our lives. And I knew life with Ava would never be ordinary. There would be jealousy. There would be pouting. There would be her endless need to keep me all to herself. But I was ready for it. Because this was the love I had chosen. Sweet and crazy. Ordinary and extraordinary. Ours.